trying to get an airstrike over on that opposite side. Copy.
What is up, everyone? Talon from the Airsoft headquarters here, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about a pistol that has been very near and dear to me, specifically the 19 Gen 3. Now, for anyone that has not followed the channel or just kind of been into the Glock scene that I have produced here, I am huge into the Glock world. I shoot and carry real Glocks. I enjoy the Elite Force Glocks. I've done comparison from the Elite Force to other brands of Glocks, and I constantly am talking about the new Glocks that are coming out. So this is honestly the oldest Glock that has been in my collection. So old that it is now 4 years since I have picked it up. And with everything, I'm going to let you guys know, just blanket statement, I'm not sponsored, I'm not affiliated with anyone. These are all pistols that I have owned myself, purchased myself, and used for my own purposes. So there's no type of favoritism when it comes to any type of partnership specifically. So you guys can rest easy on that. Now, the 19 Gen 3 hit the Airsoft market first as far as the Elite Force Glock series. It was the first pistol from the Glock lineup, and this reached our inventory April 16th, 2018. Now, if you do some quick math, that is very close to 4 years, within like a week of 4 years of me having this Glock 19 Gen 3. This is my personal one of my 19 Gen 3s that I've utilized for the entire duration of that time since we've had it. And how I got to owning this Glock 19 Gen 3 was, we got the pallet from Elite Force. I grabbed the box that had the 19 Gen 3s. I took my knife, I cut it open, I opened it up, and the very top 19 was mine. That was the entire process of me getting the 19 here. It wasn't a special order. It wasn't anything that was specifically made different from everyone else's. It came from the same pile of all of the other Glocks we have received. And all of my Glocks are like that. So this, and I'm just trying to like let you guys know that it's not a special case. This is not like a super unique special gun that was given to me by Elite Force for whatever, right? This is honestly a phenomenal example as to just how long you can have the 19 Gen 3s or any pistol for that matter within Airsoft, and how long you can hold on to it based on how much you maintain it and take care of it. Now, full disclaimer, I don't take care of a lot of my pistols. I don't do regularly cleaning, but I'm also not using my pistols 100% of the time. Very seldom am I using these pistols as a primary base system. They're usually a secondary for when there's emergencies. If I run out of my M4 magazines, I need to go super tight to a corner, and I'm using my super long DMR rifle that's right below the RPG, and I just need something super close quarters. So it's super seldom that I use my pistols, so they relatively have lower shots in them compared to my rifle systems. Now, the 19 that I have here is kind of the exception. Because I have a real 19 Gen 3, I utilize this guy specifically more for dry fire training. And you can see here that on the slide, it is very heavily worn, and just, you can see the shine of the metal underneath there because it's rubbed up against my concealed carry holster so much. And so I'll just sit in my basement in the mornings, at nights, on off days, and I'll just practice pulling from concealment, doing reloads, dry fire techniques. I use this thing the most, not on field. So it has probably thousands of shots behind it that are not actual fireable. It gets dry fired a lot. So that really is a testament to how well these things can work and operate. And if you guys can hear, the operation is super smooth. And really, the only thing that I've done to this as far as modifications or upgrades, accessories, is the PTS Zev iron sights, and I was just like, hey, we got these PTS iron sights less than a year ago. Let's put them on the 19 that I have here and show you what it looks like. I did also add a enhanced magazine release. I like having it there. It just makes it a little bit easier to hit that magazine out. And I've also replaced the hammer assembly, because in the 4 years that I've had this, for all of the time that I've been shooting and abusing it, that's the only part that's broken on me. The hammer assembly in the very back here, I've needed to replace, and it just, over time, one of the springs or one of the sears just wore down to the point where it broke. And luckily, Elite Force has the rebuild kit series for their pistols, so I could get that package and literally just drop it in there. Now, I could have spent $3 and gotten that one specific sear and just took the time to replace it. However, I've done those individual sear replacements for other people, and it is very much a pain in the ass. So I paid the extra in order to have the entire assembly to just pull the old one out, drop the new one in. It was a process that took less than 3 minutes. It was so straightforward. And that's one of the things that I really like about the Elite Force lineup as far as their pistols go, is they are intentionally creating those rebuild kits. They also, just from the factory, are just going to be a little bit better built, in my opinion, compared to a lot of the other manufacturers. If you guys haven't seen, I did have a 17 Gen 3 with probably $500 or $700 worth of aftermarket parts components, and nothing fit properly. If I didn't have the magazine inside of the pistol and I had it backwards and hit the slide release, so magazine's out on the 17 Gen 3 that was upgraded. I have the slide back, I hit the slide release forward, and the entire slide assembly would have rocket manned off of the frame, right? That is because the aftermarket parts components, while compatible, were not accurately sized to what these guys are going to be directly out of the factory. And these sizes for these standard Elite Force Glocks are accurate within 1/1000th of an inch. We have taken micrometers to the real 19 Gen 3 and this one, and they're incredibly accurate size-wise, which is why I use it to dry fire so much. So over the years of having this and using this, it's held up stupid well. I know that you guys definitely will appreciate that you don't have to do crazy modifications, you don't have to do crazy upgrades, or a whole lot of replacement parts and components. In my experience as well, if there is, for some reason, a Glock or one of the pistols from Elite Force that does have irregularities, it is having misfeeding issues, it has cycling issues, it's going to be a manufacturer defect. And at that point, just utilize the warranty, because it's going to show itself right away. So I'm just a huge proponent for utilizing Elite Force pistols. I just like them a lot, and especially 4 years of abuse, that speaks leaps and bounds for me personally. I mean, if you really want to do a side-by-side comparison with the Airsoft brand new 19 Gen 3 and mine that is currently 4 years old, I mean, mine is beat to shit. And then let's do a comparison of this 19 Gen 3, that the story is that it fell off of a truck while on the interstate. So a airsofter, happened to be an airsofter, stopped to pick up what he thought may have been a real firearm, and it turned out to be an airsoft one. So this, just by the looks of it, the magazine was ejected. It's all scratched up and very much worn away. With the frame and slide here, we can kind of see that there's a little bit of a bend here, which means, I'm assuming at least, that some type of tire or vehicle ran over the center of the pistol here, and before scattering it off to the side of the interstate. So it kind of had a permanent bend. So I took the entire thing apart. I spent a long time cleaning it, really getting inside of there. It was super gritty, super dirty, did not cycle at all. Just spent a lot of time taking it apart, cleaning it meticulously, and taking the slide assembly to it's a vise, and trying to bend it back as straight as possible, and still works. It is a little grindy, I'll admit, but it still works. So these pistols definitely can take the abuse. They can take the hardships. They can take a lot of falls, and they're just built really, really well, in my opinion. Now, if this is also the first time that you guys are seeing the 19 Gen 3 here, it is a pretty basic standard Glock pistol. It is going to be a compact base of frame, a compact base of slide. So compared to like a 17, which you you regularly see in video games and movies, which has a longer slide and a longer overall grip. So this is designed to be more of a concealed carry double stack platform. So you do need to get these 19 type of magazines. You can get 17 magazines, but they will stick out by about a half of an inch. So that does look a little bit awkward. The 19 Gen 3 here, I'm going to suggest utilizing green gas magazines exclusively. In my experience with the 19 Gen 3 platforms, with the spring recoil guide rod, CO2 can just force the slide back far enough to where the slide will sometimes lock into place backwards, just binding those springs up. So don't normally suggest running CO2 on the Gen 3s, 19, 17, or 18C. And that is my experience, but you can do whatever you want. And it shoots around 300 feet per second, and that's been a very consistent velocity that I've seen over the years. It has been a while since I've done any type of accuracy shooting, but I do know that this guy would suffer at about that 100, maybe even the 80-foot test, or 80-foot distance as far as hitting a torso-sized target consistently. But, you know, for an emergency backup, for something you need for super close quarters, it is built really, really, really well. And also, with this 19 Gen 3, the orange tip does not act as the spacer for the inner barrel, like with the 17s, the 19Xs, the 45s, which the orange tip does act as a spacer for the inner barrel. So if you remove the orange tip, your inner barrel starts wiggling around a lot, and you lose a lot of accuracy and consistency. So a lot of times you'll need to self-make, manufacture, 3D print, do something in order to stabilize that inner barrel in these 17 length of slides. Not something you need to be concerned with the 19 if you wanted to remove the orange tip. But I also only removed the orange tip so I could practice concealed carry drawing from my concealed carry holster. So it does click into place there. And then the orange tip I have just removed. That way it can clear the holster just a little bit quicker, and I can get more accurate muscle memory compared to just drawing my 19, the real one, constantly and having to re-rack it, put it back in the holster, draw, shoot, re-rack, holster. With this, I do have a magazine that's specifically dedicated for dry firing. So there's a follower here that will lock the slide open on the last shot. So if you have no BBs inside of there, it's constantly going to lock backwards. So I have a magazine that I have removed that detent right there. And that way it will never catch on the slide, and then you can dry fire as much as you want. It is green gas, so with the base plates, you can remove them. This happens to be the only 19 magazine that still has the base plate on it. All the other ones have been fumbled, dropped, fallen out of gear bags, and have shattered the base plates here, as by example of this one right here. So it is just a regular fill valve on the very bottom there. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward, nothing crazy as far as operations. Fill it up with green gas, put it back in, and then you're back to shooting. And then it's just really basic. Magazine capacity of 19 rounds for the Airsoft model here. And that's really it. There's nothing else too special about it as far as performance. It's standard pistol performance. It's nothing crazy accurate. It's not like a stellar soft shooter. It's not like a crazy custom build, but it's just so hardy and just so well made from the factory that it just works so well. So that is my very basic review of the 19 Gen 3 after having this in my collection for a collective 4 years. So happy birthday to my 19 Gen 3. But that is all that I have for you guys. It wasn't like a crazy overview or review of these systems. I mean, it technically could be a review, a 4-year review, maybe. But that is all that I have for you guys. So you guys take care, stay safe, stay positive, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.